What is up everyone, and welcome to the 13th tutorial in our Python language basics. Here we're going to cover ranges, which will be the last collection type we'll take a look at here, then we can move on to control flow. So we'll start by creating ranges with start and end parameters. This will be kind of start and end values. We'll show you how to use them in combination. Then we'll talk about how to add in a step parameter. This will allow us to skip numbers. Then we'll talk about how to reverse a range, and finally use the in and the not in operators. I figure we'll be looking at those in our for loops a bit later on, so we may as well get used to using them now. So let's head on over to the code. Last time we covered dictionaries, that was number 12. Here we're number 13 with ranges, so we'll want to first of all get started with a new cell. Okay, let's just zoom in so you guys can see it, and we'll get started down here. So first of all, ranges, what are they and how do we use them? So we know that ranges are just lists of consecutive whole numbers. We can specify what number we want to start at, what number we want to end at, and we can also specify a step parameter that allows us to skip numbers. This is a very easy way to, let's say, just get whole numbers, or maybe every third number, every fourth number, so on and so forth. When I said whole numbers, actually, I meant even or odd numbers, because they are, of course, always going to be whole numbers. So that's what ranges are going to be used for. It's basically just a really quick, easy way to create a list of consecutive whole numbers. Okay, so to create a range, you use the range operator like this, okay? And within the range, you can just specify your start, your end, and your step. So you don't need all three. At the very least, you need an end parameter, okay? Because if you just specify an end, then it will start at 0 automatically. One thing to note is that your end number is not included in the actual range. So let's say we want the first 10 numbers. You'd think that you'd do something like this. First 10 is equal to a range, and we'll go up until 10. So this will get 0 through 10. However, this is not going to include 10. So let's say we print out the first 10. Okay, just like this. This is not really going to do anything fancy. It's just going to print out a range. That's boring. Basically through numbers 0 through 10. Okay, if we want the very first element, we can actually use the list square bracket syntax. That's fine. That's good. But what about the last element? Okay, so index 10. That actually doesn't exist. Okay, and that's because 10 is not included. If we did 9, the index of 9, that would give us the number 9. So we are guessing 10 numbers, but we're starting at 0 and ending at 9. So that's not exactly what we want in this case. In order to get the first 10, like numbers 1 through 10, what we would do is, let's call this, I guess we have a first, we can do first 10 again. That's fine. It's probably more accurate this way. We can start at 1 and then end at 11. Okay, that way we get exactly what we want. We can take these, print them out. Okay, and now we're guessing what we want. So we're starting at 1 and we are ending at 10. So it's important to note that when you're doing this, the start number is included, the end number is not. It's basically just that minus 1. Okay, now what about the reversed? You'll very often see if you're kind of counting down instead of counting up, you'll want to reverse this range. It's actually very easy with the reverse operator. So we can just call this something like reversed 10 or something is going to be equal to the reversed operator applied to maybe our first 10. Okay, so this should give us the numbers 10 through to 1. However, because this actually returns an object of type iterable, if we print out reversed 10 like so, okay, we'll actually get something different. Okay, you see that we get a range iterator object rather than just that range 0 through 10 or whatever it was. Okay, so this can't really be, we can't use this to access our items like this through the subscript syntax. It doesn't work. So what we would have to do is convert this to a list, and then we can access items. So that's fine. What we can do is just say reversed 10 is equal to a list of reversed 10. Okay, and then we can access the elements like this. Okay, so no problems there. In fact, we could print out the entire list and we would see all the elements just like when we printed out a regular list. Okay, you can do this with the reverse list, or reverse range rather, or just with a regular range. You can convert it to a list, no problem. Okay, the final thing I wanted to talk about is the in and the not in operators. These basically are used to determine if a value exists within a range. We can also use them on lists as well to see, like in this example, we have a list. It's not actually a range or an iterator object anymore. It's actually a list object. We could say, is 6 in this list? Yes or no, okay, and that will return us a Boolean value. So the in operator is always going to return a Boolean value. It's either yes, this is in it, or no, it's not in it, and the reverse is true for not in, okay? So let's just take a really quick example. Well, I think we'll stick with let's stick with first 10 because I think it's nicer than reverse 10. So we know first 10 is basically a range object, okay, numbers 1 through 10 inclusive. And we just want to test to see if 5 is in it. Okay, we know that, but let's pretend we didn't. So we want to print, actually, yes, I guess we could just print this. Let's say 5 in first 10. Okay, so we get true printed out. Makes sense. There are numbers 1 through 10. Of course, 5 is going to be in that. Okay, same with if we do not in, that will just kind of give us the reverse. So that's going to be false because we know that 5 is in first 10. Okay, we did like 15 or something, that will return us true because we know that 15 is not in the first 10. Okay, so when used like this, the in or the not in operators will always return true or false. We're actually going to see when the in is applied with a for loop, it's going to be used very slightly differently. It's actually no longer a comparison or like a check. It's actually going to be used to access each individual element, but much more on that later on. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Again, ranges are very, very easy to use, probably the easiest of all of the collection types. It's just a way to build a list of consecutive whole numbers. We can convert them to actual lists for kind of easier access and use. We can reverse them pretty easily. We can, actually, we didn't even demonstrate the step operator. I guess I'll go through that one really quickly. Let's say we're doing the numbers 1 through 10. Like this inclusive, and we want only the basically want to skip every other number, so we would skip all of the even numbers there. What we could do is we could say something like print, I guess we could create a new range. So let's say I guess we'll probably have to convert it to a list if we want to print it out. So we're going to create a list of a range of 1 through 11, and we're going to skip every other one, so we're going to say skip by 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that. Right, so here we go. So we get the odd numbers being printed out only, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Note that it actually doesn't print out 10 because it's skipping that one, okay? So essentially, this will start at this point, and it's going to step by 2. So instead of going 1, then 2, then 3, it's going 1, and then it's skipping 2, so up to 3, and then to 5, and so on and so forth. If you wanted the even numbers only, then you could do like 0 through 11 and skip 2. You just have to alter up your kind of start and end point. Okay, so that's it for now. Do play around with ranges a little bit, and especially the reverse ranges. Remember, they are different objects technically to lists, although you can see that we can easily convert ranges, even reversed ranges, to lists. And when we come back, we'll be talking about control flow. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.